Hi guys! In my last video where I was testing a diesel engine running on various vegetable oils, I had a lot of people mention in the comments that the only reason it ran that well was because there was no load on it. And at that time the engine that I've had didn't have an arrangement that allowed me to put any load on it. So this time I have this little 5 horsepower Hatz diesel generator that I built myself, and I will have a chance to test it with the load. I will connect 1500 watt electric heater to it, and it will run continuously. I'll start with adding the same amount of fuel into this container and measure how long it will run on different fuels. I'll be testing it with diesel fuel, and I will then put pure vegetable oil, and we'll time it and see how long it will take to drain that fuel completely out of the container. I don't know how much of a difference will it make. Maybe there will be a huge difference. Maybe it won't even run on vegetable oil when I connect the load to it. But let's see what happens. I added a little bit more to let it warm up before I start measuring anything. So it will run down to this point at which I will put the timer on. Okay, so I'm going to turn the pump on. So here you see the pump is working. It's pumping this diesel fuel. Now I'm gonna start it up. Alright, so the first attempt to run it was a total disaster. It ran fine for about 10 minutes or so and then started cycling. At first I thought maybe it's because of the heater got warm enough and it started to shut off. But after I added a cooling fan to cool it down, it still cycles, and I could hear it by the engine RPMs constantly going up and down. And I checked the voltage and realized that apparently it is an alternator that is cycling a charge. So it turns on and it charges the battery for about 20 seconds or so, and then turns off for about 10 seconds. And at this time the heater stops running and the inverter shuts it off. Then after the break period, it turns on again and it starts running fine for another 20 seconds or so. Although this alternator is rated at 250 amps, I don't think it's rated at 100% duty cycle, meaning that it's not designed to output 250 amps 100% of time. So it can give it for maybe 10 minutes, and then it has to take a break for 5 minutes and only output 100 amps or so. I don't have much details about this alternator, so I can put a link to that in the description, and if someone knows more about them and can comment on that. So I had to redo the diesel fuel experiment and only run it at 750 watt this time, because in this configuration it can run continuously without shutting off or cycling, and it will give us more accurate results. I'm gonna drain the diesel from the tank and put oil in it. We'll start it up again and see how well it will run. Okay, so now it's pure veggie oil, but there's still some diesel left in the lines, which is good. It will help it to start because ladies and gentlemen, it's been an interesting story of experimentation and discovery. Now, as you may have noticed, I encountered some challenges along the way. I weren't able to run the generator at higher loads due to the design flaw. But that's besides the point. This video is not about the generator, it's about the fuels that we've tested. I put this generator to the test with two fuels, diesel and veggie oil. And the results are in. The findings are quite fascinating. From the effectiveness perspective, it looks like the veggie oil is not far behind diesel fuel. And in fact, it only ran for about 3.5 minutes less, which translates into the mere 5% of difference. This margin of error that is actually too small to make a conclusive statement about superiority of one fuel over another. So what does this mean for us? It means that we have a viable alternative to traditional diesel that we can use to keep our generators running efficiently. And with the proper exhaust filtering, I believe that this is a viable solution that can reduce our carbon footprint and keep our environment cleaner. In conclusion, I hope that this video has inspired you to consider the potential of using alternative fuels for your generators. And in my next videos, I will be testing my homemade biodiesel, and I will also try to run my Golf TDI on oils as well. Stay curious and keep exploring. See you next time.